So how do we get deployed? How do we make ourselves more marketable as adjusters? So how do you make yourself more profitable as an insurance adjuster? An aspiring insurance adjuster, if you have no experience, get certification and training. That will substitute for your lack of experience. Everybody started somewhere. All right? Everybody started with no experience. So that doesn't count you out. And one thing I want you to keep in mind that once you get licensed, you are a full-blown, fully operating licensed adjuster. Don't let anybody tell you different. You will find other adjusters out there who will look down on you. All right? Don't worry about them. You are fully licensed. You have the full power of an insurance adjuster. And we're going to carry ourselves that way. All right? We're going to get the training. That's why we're here today. And here are some additional ways that you can make yourself more marketable. Get these certifications. Get 1, 2, get all of them. When I started, I didn't have any of them. All right? Didn't have any of them. And I'm still working today. You guys are starting on a better foot than I did as far as experience. I mean, I came in as a contractor. That helped me because I was still doing inspections, writing estimates anyway. So that helped me out tremendously, but you're getting training. You want to go for your Xactimate Level 2 certification? Don't worry about Level 1. Go for Level 2. Everything that we're going to go over this week is going to prepare you for a Level 2 certification. When you get done with this class, I will encourage you to take a prep course that Xactimate gives you, and then go ahead and take the Level 2 test. And you will see during that prep course that everything that's in there, you guys learned it in this class already. All right? So I would encourage you to go to Level 2 certification. Level 3 is for those who want to be a trainer or just want to be able to have bragging rights. All right? Level 3 doesn't do anything for us as adjusters. That's just if you want to be a trainer or have bragging rights. All right? Stability does not have any level certification, but I will give you a certification this week for going through stability training. You're going to get certification, not an Xactimate level certification, but Xactimate proficiency this week as well from this class. So you'll be able to upload that into your resumes, okay? Encourage you guys to go and get a Hague, Win in Hell certification. On this table, we have all the tools of the trade, but we also have these booklets. This is one thing I got. Even though I installed rules, I walked rules, I understood about rules, I still, in my first year of adjusting, I went out and bought these booklets from Hague Engineering. They're an engineering firm all over the country. I think these were like $20. That helps you identify damage. Because you want to be able to identify damage, call it out, and write it up. What you do not want is to be submitting reports that are not accurate reports. Requesting replacement of rules for rules that don't need replacing. So what happens when you do that is that that raises a red flag to your administrator. Now they're going to look at every single claim a whole lot closer if they feel that you're putting in fraudulent claims. So we want to be able to provide a good report, a professional quality report. Okay? There's been times on deployments where I would submit my claim, it wouldn't even go through QA. Why? Because the director of that storm knew me. And there are times that he'd be the one reviewing my claim. He just pushes it through because he knows my quality. He knows my work. Unbeknownst to the adjuster, you are being graded. All right? There is a point system that they have in these insurance carriers and these IA firms. You are being graded for the quality that you produce, how many rejections you get, how many correct estimates you get, how long it took you to do that estimate. All right, you're being graded. You're not aware of it. You're not privy to that information, but that is happening in the back office. So we have to have the onus to want to produce that good quality because that will affect how much you get paid. All right? They have you sign a disclosure not to disclose private information, meaning you're not allowed to tell another adjuster how much you get paid. Why? Because that adjuster next to you might be 10% below you. And now he's like, man, I'm out. You mean they paid you 10% more? You do with that whatever you wish. And high and steep. There are some IA firms that if you get the high and steep certification, doesn't mean that you have to climb a high and steep roof, but they'll pay you extra just for having the certification. An extra $100 just for having it. All right? Not saying that you have to do it, but they'll pay you for just for having it. So that is a very good certification to have. Any questions? Equipment needed to do field adjusting. On the table, I have every one of those equipment sitting there. Monitor is sitting up on the counter, of course, in the laptop. But on the table, you guys can check it out. Laptop, monitor. Monitor is not, let's say, it is not, it's not a necessity. But man, it helps you move faster. To be able to see what you're working on a bigger screen, working on sketches, allows you to have multiple windows open. It increases your proficiency. The method I'm going to give you this week, I'm not telling you that, how can I put it? You can always improve upon it. If you can find a faster way to do it, God bless you, go for it. But I'm going to give you a quick way to do it. I mean, there's fast, there's faster, and there's the fastest. All right? When I like to think of an illustration like my dog. I have a Belgian Malinois. You guys familiar with Belgian Malinois? Look them up, right? So when my dog never walks anywhere. She's always trotting or running, right? When she takes off, she's running fast. But something gets her attention, it's like she goes into second gear, and she's flying, right? So you can always improve upon the method I'm going to give you, encourage you to. Because when you do the same thing over and over again, you're supposed to get faster, supposed to get better, right? More proficient. So you can always improve upon it. So everything I share is the way that I do it. Do you have to do it my way? No. But if you want to be at least at the minimum proficient, I would recommend it, highly recommend it. Right? And you can always improve upon it. I am going to give you the way. All of it. And you can only get better. All right? So I'm recommending a monitor. It will behoove you to get a monitor. Your future self will thank you for buying a monitor, okay? Of course, you get a ladder. I always get two sizes of ladders. I believe I have a 16 and a 27-foot ladder. Before I go to the inspection, I'll look and see how tall the roof is. And that dictates, say, if I bring my 16 or if I bring both. Most of the time, I have both. When I met you, did I have both? You probably don't remember. You probably did a lot of inspections since then.
I've done a good handful. I always had the telescopic ladder, but I think I forget because I know we went up on the low point of the roof where the gutter was. That's what I do remember towards the front of the house.
That's correct. That's correct. So I try to keep two ladders. Okay. Now you can operate out of a car. You don't have to have a truck and you don't have to have a tall ladder. I'll show you guys on my website. There's the telescopic ladder. All right, that'll fit in your back seat or in your trunk. There was one adjuster that came in my class last year. She was adjusting out of, I forget the name of the car, but it was a two-seater. She'll pull up and the insurer will be like, do you have a ladder? I say, yeah, I got a ladder. I'm like, where? Right, that's right. That is correct. That's correct. So you don't need a van or a truck. You can actually adjust out of a car. Okay? I mean, you may have a problem. There are some roofs that are taller than others. Some of them, the eaves are at 10 feet. Other ones are at 12 feet. Some other ones are higher than that, okay, if it's a vaulted ceiling. So tool pouch, you pull up at some inspections, or you may show other adjusters, or they may see my video and be like, man, how the heck you got a huge old tool pouch? What you doing with all of that? Well, have you guys seen all these tools up here? Each one of them have a function. And where do I keep them? On my tool pouch. Each one of them have a function. I'd rather have something not needed than need it and not have it, okay? So I encourage you to get a tool pouch. There's a shingle gauge. There are two types of shingle gauges, okay? This one is used for roofs that are installed prior to 2011. This shingle gauge is used for tools that are installed after the year 2011, okay? This gauge here, this is a metal gauge for galvanized or metal roofs. And there's a magnetic here for you to be able to tell if the materials is actually aluminum. Why is it important for us to know if it's galvanized or aluminum? Cost. Right? It's only right to give that insured what they had before, right? Okay? So it's best to always be prepared. so that you can be able to give that accurate estimate. Okay? So 3 types of gauges. Before 2011, after 2011, and for your metal rules, you're going to measure the thickness of that metal because that drives up the cost. That insured gets what they had prior to that, and guess who else benefits from that?
You do.
Wow.
Yes, definitely.
That's right. Because it boosts up my cost. And I want to know, is it aluminum or not? There's a little magnet on here. Okay? Is it important? Yes, it's important. Does it make a difference? Yes. How many adjusters do you think out there knows that?
Not many.
You'll be surprised. Now, what happens on most deployments, you have deployments where you have a huge catastrophic event and you have thousands of adjusters that are flooding that city or town. It is amazing the amount of adjusters that just fall out and disappear. You never hear about them. And IA firms will never broadcast it. You know why they wouldn't broadcast it? Because their failure to produce those claims, those adjusters, sheds a bad light on that IA firm because they failed to prepare them to go out there and perform. And they don't want insurance companies finding that out. But I am close to a lot of administration personnel in IA firms, and the stories I hear is like, wow. You have adjusters that get issued 30 claims, and they just disappear. They don't call the IA firm to tell them they're leaving. They don't call them and say they're overwhelmed. They just disappear. And the IA firm don't realize until 2 weeks later. When they're not returning a claim, returning a call, they're not answering their phones, they're just gone. Why? Because they're overwhelmed and underprepared. A lot of people are motivated to get in this industry. And they will drive 16 hours. But once them claims hit and they're like, how do I do this? It's overwhelming. And a lot of adjusters just disappear because they're overwhelmed and underprepared. Hurricane Irma. There was this one gentleman, I remember his face. If I was to see him today, I would remember him. I was in that war room for 2 weeks. This man did not submit one claim. And he was continuously asking people for help, how to do this, how to do that. So I thought he'd eventually get it. Disappeared. He just gave up and just left. That is a common thread. The fact that you're here puts you in that higher percentile to be successful. All right? You're not going to be that guy that's overwhelmed and underprepared. You're going to have all the information you need. Okay? Little ladders helper. All right? We use this to protect the gutters when we're climbing the gutters and to steady your ladder on the gutter. This has, I forget what they call it, but it has a tread on here. Once you put the ladder, it stops it from moving and it protects the gutter that you're not bending it or breaking it. This becomes helpful when you're dealing with white gutters, painted gutters, because your ladder can scratch the gutter. Most people won't care, but you will have that insured. They get pissed off that you put a scratch on his 300 linear foot of gutter. You put one little scratch somewhere. And God forbid that gutter's a copper gutter on the beach and it's bronze and you just turn that sucker copper because you scratched it. So is this helpful? Yeah, it's helpful. Little ladders helper. And I have pictures of it on our website where you can purchase it. Tape measure, you notice I have 2 35-footer and a 100-footer. All right? 35-footer and a 100-footer, and I'll explain the benefit in having that. In addition to my tape measure, I have laser measures as well. Okay? You would think if I have a laser tape, I don't need the physical tape. Well, this laser tape only works when it has a terminating end. All right? When you have an ending wall, that's the only time it works, because how this works is once you press the button, it sends out a laser, and that laser bounces back. It measures the speed that it comes back in, and it converts it into distance. All right? So if my wall is one of those funky angled walls and I don't have a terminating point, this does me no good. Okay. All right? So I have to break out my tape and measure those 2 points. My recommendations, but they're not really recommendations. They're must-haves, all right, if you want to be as efficient as possible. You have your pitch gauge. This is a physical one. I use the digital one most of the time. But this is a physical one in case my digital one decides not to work. I have a backup to the backup. If you look up here, I have 3 measuring tapes, 3 laser measurers. Why do I have 3 laser measurers? Backup to the backup. All right? Backup to the backup. I don't want to be without. I encourage you guys to subscribe to a cloud-based storage system. Cloud-based, like I think you were talking about one today. What was it?
The iCloud?
OneNote?
Oh, OneNote. Okay.
Okay, OneNote is a cloud-based storage. iCloud is a cloud-based storage. There's other ones as well. I encourage you to subscribe to it. Keep all your files in the cloud. What that does, if your computer were to crash or to die, you can just go pick up another computer and pick up where you left off at. Because all your documents, all your information is in the cloud. Ain't nothing like having your computer die on you, and you have the wherewithal to get another computer, but now your files are gone. All right? Subscribe to a cloud base. It does 2 things. It protects your documents, and it also frees up space on your computer. Because Xactimate is a hard-hitting application. Once it's running, it's taking up a lot of space on your disk. All right? They recommend that you have 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can get away with 12, but they recommend that you have 16. All right? Because it's a hard-hitting software. Once it's running, it's taking up a lot of space. So if you can keep all your stuff in the cloud, your computer is free and will work more effectively. Okay? If you ever bump into a situation where you're working in Xactimate and it closes, that means it ran out of memory. All right? It ran out of operating space, so it shut down on you. Okay? What else I got up there? Pitch gauge, digital pitch gauge, cougar paws. If you're going to be climbing roofs, $250 shoes. You may get it for $199. These shoes literally make you feel like Spider-Man on the roof. All right? Because of the tread underneath it. All right? Now, it looks like something's wrong here, right? Right? Climb one too many roofs. So it has the sole underneath here that you will replace regularly, but you replace with these, all right? You always order and have extra. So you just replace them. If you're going to be climbing roofs, I highly recommend that you get cougar paws. They have ones, if you guys are worrying about design, they got some nicer looking ones, okay? They're not as sturdy as these. These are for roof installers. And remember, I told you I install roofs, so I already had a couple pairs before even getting into this industry. They have some other ones that look nicer, but those are the more sturdier ones. They have the support that helps you support your ankle, all right, and your footing on the roof. And chalk. The key word with this chalk, it's going to be washable, all right? Get washable chalk, sidewalk chalk. Nothing like riding up someone's roof and that chalk stays there for months until they repair the roof, all right? Make sure that sucker's washable. Any questions? So this is the camera I was using in the beginning, but now all I use is my phone and my iPad. Okay? When I do an inspection today, when I'm done with my inspection, I'm 50% done with my claim. I do my inspection with my iPhone or iPad. When I leave, I'm 50% completed with that claim. I'm not teaching you guys that today, okay? All right? I'm not teaching that. That's advanced, okay? I'm teaching you the way that I did those 100 claims in 28 days. All right? Now, I'm way past that right now because it's an advanced way, but I'm not teaching that because we're gonna learn the simple and the fast way. Remember earlier I said there's fast, there's faster, and there's the fastest. All right? This is the fastest, okay? I'm going to show you the faster. All right?
Is that another class, the fastest?
I'm thinking about implementing that.
Okay.
All right? But it won't be this class. Huh? Okay. All right? And sidewalk chart. Any questions, guys, so far? Here are some top rosters that I encourage you to get on. Why do I recommend these 7? Because they will give you the opportunity as a first-year adjuster. Okay? They will give you an opportunity. You have that in your booklet. Now, remember what I said earlier. Every single thing we talk about, every single thing, every single discussion, every single PowerPoint is here. And take note of the order that it's in. The order that everything is in, that is the way. It's not just an accumulation of information. It's giving you the order to move in. You can reinvent the wheel. You can change it if you want. You can change the order if you want. I don't recommend it, but if it makes you faster, go for it. Okay? I'm giving you everything. Okay? So here are the rosters that I recommend. Mid-America CAT. Yep. Mid-America. So all these companies will give you an opportunity. But notice the order I have them as well. There's a reason for it. Okay? However, they always give you an opportunity as a first-year adjuster. Crawford and Company, they're the company that I made the $70,000 with. They're a good company, very professional, and they will give you an opportunity as a first-year adjuster. However, their caveat, they will want you to come to their training, which makes sense. They want to be able to know that they at least plugged into you, shows you their way, and then they'll give you an opportunity. Okay? So, and all of them is going to offer the same kind of training, but Crawford in particular, they want to know that you came to their training. The next one is cross country. I have mixed feelings about them, but they will give you an opportunity as a first-year adjuster. Okay? Alacrity, mixed feelings, but they will give you an opportunity as a first-year adjuster. Not all of them. Not all of their, but there are some that do. I know an adjuster that worked up in Boston, did a claim for him. It was halfway decent, but they give you an opportunity. First-year adjuster, what are you looking for? Get your foot in the door. All right, your first deployment is going to finance you for your next one. All right, it's going to get you started for your next one. And this thing about adjusting, when you make your money on your first deployment, don't feel like, oh, I'm going to ball out. Yeah, I mean, put something away. All right? Have fun, but put something away. That's right, and taxes to come. That's right. And so there's also 2 different pay schedules. You have W-2 and you have 1099. I, in particular, love 1099 because I write off everything. Everything. Okay? I write everything off. But there are times where I have a deployment like Crawford, they're a W-2. They're a W-2. That's no problem. There's a work around that. You know what? You just edit your, what do they call that form? W-4, where you have them taken out of less tax as possible. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're that kind of person that feel like you might spend it, then adjust your allowances. Okay? So W-2 is not bad. It helps you in tax season. But I found 1099 to be the most helpful for me because I write everything off. There's an app. Write this down. There's an app called QuickBooks Self-Employed. QuickBooks Self-Employed. They have it in iOS and also in what's the other phone? iOS is Apple.
Oh, that's right.
Android. They have an Android version. What it does, it tracks all your miles. You can connect your bank accounts to it, and it'll itemize all your expenses for you, all your business expenses, just with a right swipe or a left swipe. Business, left, personal, right. And every time you start your car and go from one point to another, it records the miles. And at the end of the year, it provides a report of all the miles that you drove. You know what you got to do? Right swipe, left swipe. Business, personal. Those miles will save your life when it comes to tax season. All right? 56 cents a mile? That adds up. I beat my cars up. You're talking about 30 to 50,000 miles in 2 years. All right? Sometimes 30,000 in 1 year. But all that adds up at the end of the year for taxes. Okay? Pilot will give you an opportunity as a first-year adjuster. And then you have Rise. Rise Claim Solutions. All right. So at the end of your booklet, you got a list of over 200 IA firms. So that'll be my top 7. But get on these rosters. Get on these rosters. All right, guys? And I'll be sending out emails to you guys to join our roster as well. What to expect and how to prepare. It is break time. Let's go ahead and break for 15 minutes. All right? And we'll pick up where I left off at here. Let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break.